welcome to another exciting edition of Neighborhood Training. This week we are going to work in the area of East Falmouth that I will call the Mill Pond neighborhood of East Falmouth, and that's going to encompass the neighborhoods on the east and west side of Mill Pond, which is the predominant pond in East Falmouth, right on East Falmouth Highway. This is downtown East Falmouth, and we're going to work on the Court Real Prince Henry Drive neighborhood, and also the Vidal Ave, Natal Ave side. Now, both of these neighborhoods are just about a mile from East Falmouth, and they really formulate the core, if you will, of East Falmouth's district, of Station 5's district. I know we get a lot of medical calls in this area. We also get a lot of fire calls in this area, so it's really incumbent upon the personnel at East Falmouth Station to know this area, know it well, know the hazards. It's only a mile away, so you should be able to get there in 2 or 3 minutes. Headquarters is about 4 miles away, so you are going to have a period of time where you'll be able to operate on your own. And for the most part, this area here is kind of mixed. It's predominant, probably about 90%, 95%. Single-family dwellings. We do have, of course, the Vidal apartments right next to Family Foods, but we also have a couple of other apartment complexes. Some of these houses have been made into multi-family units, but predominantly we are looking at capes and ranches, and for the working class people of Falmouth. So what I mean by that is these people are not seasonal. These people are here year-round, 24/7, 365. They're here. They're residents here, and as such, we need to know what hazards and what the particular things in neighborhoods. We do have Mill Pond as a not really a hazard, but just as a focal point of there, and that could present a a hazard as far as kids skating in the ice and so forth. But we also have the bogs, and there is a little trickiness as far as where Old Barnstable and Old Meeting House Road go. All right. Well, without any further ado on that end, we'll just take a quick look at the road networks there. They're in this area, and there are hydrants throughout both of these neighborhoods. They range from between 700 and 1,000 gallons a minute, so they're spaced well spaced apart. So we do have a good hydrant system occurring in these neighborhoods. The houses are pretty close together, but I don't think we'd have too much of a problem with a fire going from one house to another. So as far as any radiant heat and all that, I don't think we have too much of a problem, except with loading this particular map today. So that's wonderful. Okay. Guess this wants to take its time loading up here. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with this one here. Okay. What I'll do is I'll quickly focus right in here. This is the town website map. I don't want to go in too deep here because I know that last time the resolution here was not that great. So I'm going to try and see if it'll zoom in here on these neighborhoods fairly quickly. Rather than zooming the camera in, we'll zoom the there we go. That's probably a little bit better. All right. Okay. Great. Good job. Good job. It really didn't work out too much better either, did it? All right. So we got to remember that we have Old Barnstable is the road that runs right across from the sports, the gym, and the Executive Auto Sales, and the fuel oil company right here. And Old Barnstable, if we just remember, runs from here, cuts over through the bogs, and then runs all the way out to Mashpee through there. And then Old Meeting House runs at the Davisville lights, comes down, crosses over the bogs, and shoots up towards Andrews Farm. So they do crisscross there. What we're going to focus on today is this neighborhood right in here. And we have, there we go, the main road going in at Court Real. As you can see, we do have hydrants throughout. And I want to mention while we're looking at this that we do have Mill Pond Way, which are probably around 2,500 square foot kind of modern houses, probably been in there 15 years. They are larger houses, more upscale houses overlooking the pond. So we have, there we go, we have Court Real, and then Prince Henry runs off to the side here. Basically they run, the length is about 80 houses in the development here. So Court Real and Prince Henry are the main roads through there. They both connect to Old Barnstable. And we have Santa Maria that crosses, cuts across. And then we have St. Anthony's Lane that runs here. Okay. So as you can see, the hydrants are pretty close together. Now, while we're talking about this development in here, I know that some of you are probably pretty familiar with it, but I do want to point out a few of the houses I've seen in here, and the recession now has taken a particular impact in this neighborhood and over on the Natal and Vidal Ave neighborhood as well. And we have quite a few houses in these neighborhoods here that are abandoned or empty. And this house here has been basically abandoned for a while. And I believe from talking to Chief Broder one time, I believe this house here is full of stuff. I don't think it's like a Collier's mansion. I believe it's more, there's no one that lives in there. I believe there's the owner that owns it. He used to own a place on Ginger Street, and they were both, that one burnt up. And this one here and the other Ginger Street house were just filled with whatever this guy had as far as what his collections were and stuff like that. So obviously this one's been kind of shut down for a while. This is another house here that you know, has seen some better days. And what really caught my eye is here we have a board kind of closing an exterior door. Obviously the lawn and everything else is overgrown, but there's obviously some issues. There's really some signs here that this house is probably not occupied at this time. And this another place here that to look at it, you say, oh yeah, this is a well lived in house, it looks in pretty good shape. And yeah, maybe because there's birdseed in the front there, and it may be, however, there's a vital thing missing here on the front of this house that could be kind of a surprise for us, a big front step missing. So whether it's occupied or not, it does present some sort of a hazard there for us. And this is the size house that we do in the Prince Henry Court Real Ave. There's about 1,200 square foot single family. That's, if you drive in there, almost every house in here is one story, 1,200 square foot. All right. And I believe that that is it. I think this house here is on the, oh, this is the other house in there that was burnt out down at the end of Prince Henry. I believe it's beginning to be rehabbed. There was someone there putting in a new electrical service. Must be for reconstruction here. So hopefully we'll see this house rehabilitated after the fire that occurred probably 5 years ago or more. All right, now we will slide over to the other side of Mill Pond, if these maps will cooperate today. Okay, and we'll work on the Ponce Ave and Natal Ave neighborhood. And over here we do have the East Falmouth Library. So we do have this library lane coming around the corner here. Good. All right. So we come in by Vidal Ave and Family Foods here, and then the kind of a taxpayer building here, ice cream shop. We come in Vidal, and then the immediate left is Natal, runs along the edge of the pond. And then we have Old Meeting House, comes in off of the intersection. Okay, and I believe we have, it doesn't show it on here, but I want to look at, I think it's Ginger and Patricia that cut through. Yeah, yep, the first cut through here is Ginger, and then Patricia cuts through up top. And then we have Ponce Ave that runs off of Old Meeting House. Here we have Ponce, and of course Vidal ends up cutting through here. So we will cover that. And then the other areas that I do want to cover here, we have Loden Green is just up a little ways up over here. I want to cover Loden Green, and that does have houses in there, and then Tavares' nursery. But I want to also cover Benito Ave and Terrence Ave with Maria Lane running in between. Looks kind of funny here. This is why I wanted to point this out, is this shows as number 4 because it's coming off Maria, not Santa Maria, not Marla, it's Maria, and there appears to be only one house on it, number 4. Could have made it a lot easier for us, just make them all addressed Terrence, but not the case. And then we just have Roberta Jean is the other circle, semicircle off of Old Meeting House. So I'll pull up a couple of other photographs of houses in here. This is the house on that Mill Pond Way, which is next to Prince Henry. It actually backs up to all those houses there. And this, as you can see, is probably a 2,500 square foot, 3,000 square foot house here, pretty well constructed. Kind of a real contrast to the houses that are in the Court Real neighborhood. We have this house here. This is what we were talking about before in this Vidal Avenue side here. We have quite a few multi-families. This one here is a 4-unit house. It's split up. I believe the one behind it is an older building, but it looks like it's split up into 3 apartments. This one here is probably a fairly legal apartment setup, as opposed to, let me see if this is the one here. Yeah, as opposed to this one here. We look at this one and go, oh, geez, just a regular single-family house. Well, the only problem the only reason that caught my eye was 2 mailboxes and 2 electric meters. So whether or not this is legal or illegal, it is what it is, and we have to deal with it as being a multi-family apartment. Those are little clues that if we see smoke rolling out of this place, that we have a little bit more of a hazard. And I did want to point this out too. Here's another house right on Vidal Ave, I believe, that has seen some better days, and obviously it's in a condition of neglect. But we can't assume that nobody lives there. I know that we've gone to one house down fire that had down East Falmouth by Squibnocket that looked almost exactly like this. It was a little old lady who lived in there, a little hermit, and you know, she had a lot of stuff in there, and the house was really overgrown. So just because it looks like this, we can't assume that no one's in there. But just to pick up those little clues. All right, and pick that up. Let me just see if this, yep, that's not really going to tell us anything more than we've already picked up, except that okay, it kind of wraps that up anyway. Okay, and now we will just take a quick review of some of the features. Like I mentioned, it is only a mile from Station 5, 4 miles from headquarters. So 5, you're going to have some time to operate. And our next closest beyond that is surprisingly Station 4 is only 3/4 of a mile more. It's only 4.7 further away than headquarters. So the second and third engines will arrive fairly shortly beyond that. So this is the Mill Pond neighborhood. That's what we are focusing on today. And a lot of these houses were built, I looked up in the Prince Henry Drive, a lot of the houses in there, their construction was 1956, and they are approximately 1,200 square foot. And we got up to 4,000 square foot if we look in the Mill Pond neighborhood. Single family, multi-family, wood frame, with the exception of the commercial buildings like Family Foods and the Taxpayer out front of the dwellings. They are wood frame. And like I mentioned before, these folks are there year-round. They're working class folks, and so we need to be aware of that as opposed to some of the seasonal neighborhoods that we have. Prince Henry, single-family ranches. Mill Pond, a little bit larger homes there. If we go to the Vidal neighborhood, we do see a lot more capes with garages. Almost, well, 90% of the houses over there are all capes and garages with the full basements, whereas Prince Henry is all ranches. Hydrants, as we mentioned before, hazards. We do need to keep in mind there's a lot more abandoned buildings, or at least neglected buildings, in there than other places. And I guess our hazards say Mill Pond, the bogs. Now our target hazards, we always want to talk about that, is you know, outside of the multifamily. What do we got? We got Vidal Apartments. We all know the multiple hazard target for us there at the Vidal Apartments, and we do have those multifamilies with the public library, businesses, and commercial complexes right on 28. The roads, we mentioned Old Barnstable, Old Meeting House. Really need to keep in mind Old Barnstable, starting up by the health and fitness place and Executive Auto, and then Old Meeting House at the Davisville Lights. They crisscross at the back of the bogs, and Old Barnstable heads towards Mashpee, and Old Meeting House heads towards Andrews Farm. Court Real, Prince Henry, St. Anthony's, and Santa Maria. Court Real goes in straight, Prince Henry to the right, St. Anthony's and Santa Maria across the back, Mill Pond Way. Vidal Ave comes in right next to Family Foods. That's that main road, runs right out back to towards Crocker. Natal Ave runs over by the pond and the library. Ginger Street, Patricia are the cut-throughs, and Ponce is the other side road off of Natal over to Old Meeting House. We also have Bahia Lane and Crocker Road, Roberta Jean Circle in that area. We have the other development, Terrence and Benito and Maria Lane, that loop, and then Loden Green. Yeah, that about wraps up that neighborhood. I would really encourage you to, especially if you're out at Station 5, to really sit down and pick this neighborhood apart and learn which way these streets are going in and out. All right. Well, in the meantime, stay safe and eat healthy, and we'll catch you at the next session of neighborhood training.